Good morning, folks. So today we're back with this Arab mare. I've been calling her Lady May, the Tyler Childers song there. I'm tying her the stirrups up on the saddle with a lashing that I use. It's got a snap on it, and it's actually, I think it's a dog leash, but it works really well for this. And what I'm going to be doing today is just introducing her to driving and getting her to settle more and not be so anxious. Everything I do with this horse at this point is just another purpose, or I'm not sure what word to use there, but I'm coming from the viewpoint of trying to get her to settle and not be so anxious about everything. So I'm going to be using driving to do that today. And when you're on her, she doesn't sit still. She likes to fidget. She likes to move around. When you back her up, she doesn't like to back up straight. She won't stand still. You constantly have to reposition her, and I'm going to be using this driving to kind of get her to be more quiet and just sit still when you do stop. Her mind keeps going and her feet keep going because of it. So, usually when you're driving a horse, you're trying to refine your reins, get a little bit more refinement in your control. And with this, all I'm doing is just trying to get her to be quiet. So I don't know if she's ever been driven before, so I'm just taking her through the paces right now, letting her move her feet. And generally when she gets anxious, it's because she's been moving her feet. And the more you move her feet, the faster you move her feet, the more fidgety and anxious she becomes. She won't sit still. So what I'm going to do is just stop her, and I'm just waiting for her. You can tell she's anxious. She wants to take and she wants to move. She wants to take right back off. So I'm just backing her up, and you see she wants to walk off. And I say no, you're just going to back up. She did pretty good there. I'm gonna let her just wait. So now what I'm doing is I'm just throwing the rope up on her. I've asked her to stop, I've asked her to wait, and anytime I ask for movement, and this is a really good lesson here on teaching a horse what is pressure and what's not pressure. So anytime I ask a horse to move, I always pre-signal with a kiss or a cluck. And right now I'm not doing that. I'm just throwing that rope up over there. You see I let her settle, and now I'm going to go back to throwing that rein up there. This is a really good lesson to teach a horse to settle and just be quiet, particularly in the harness. You don't want a horse moving around, but for her it's just a lesson that everything that moves is not an excuse to move your feet. Everything that touches you or moves into you is not an excuse to move your feet. And that's her go-to. I want to take off. I want to go. When her feet's moving, it kind of relieves her anxiety, and I want her to be calm. So let her settle, and then I'll go back to throwing that rope. I always try to count to 3 once I've got them to settle, and then I'll go back to doing whatever it was I was doing that was causing them the anxiety, which is just throwing the rein up over her hindquarters. It's hitting the saddle. It comes back down. And see, she's just ready to take off. She's ready to go. Anytime there's any movement, anytime there's anything, she's just ready to go. So one key thing here is I just stop my feet. I don't pull on her. I let her pull into the bit. So unless I need to redirect or get her more squared up, I don't pull on her face. I just let her run into the bit. So I stop my feet and just let her move into the bit. If I can get her to sit still just a little bit, I will go back and let her move her feet again. Right there, I just threw it up over there, and she's ready to take off again. So I want her quiet, and if she'll just sit still, I'll let her go, and then I'll throw that rope again, move it around. And this is just teaching her what pressure is and what pressure is not. Right here, this is not pressure. This is just me moving the reins around. It's just me flopping the reins. It's not pressure. And the reason it's not pressure is because, number one, I didn't ask for it. It's not my intent. And number two, I'm not clucking or kissing. And that's your pre-signal. You can see she really wanted to take off there. She's really fighting a bit. As soon as she feels any kind of movement or gets anxious, she's ready to move her feet and take off. And this horse will work a hole in the ground. You're not going to get her tired, and she'll just keep moving until she's done, till you're done working. And would be a great endurance horse, I believe, because she's happiest when she's moving. So you can see here she's getting a little bit more quiet about it. I'm throwing the reins up. She's going, okay, I don't have to move. And some of this, I'm sure, is just her learning the pattern, so we have to do it quite a bit. And if she takes a step forward, every step she takes forward, I'll ask her to back up, let her run into that bit, and have her come back off of it. So she's finding a little bit of peace there. I think we're in pretty good shape. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go outside, and I'm going to do kind of the same thing. Here we are outside, and I am going to drive her down here. Kind of the same thing. Just let her move her feet, stop her, let her settle, move the reins around. She does kind of look around a little bit. The other day I was working her, and I worked her across some obstacles, and she did really good. But she's really quick-minded. She's really quick-footed, and she makes decisions pretty quick. And when you're riding her, you got to be on your toes, because she's ready to do what she wants to do. So I'll stop her here, trying to get her straightened up. She has a real problem because she is softer on her left side than she is her right. So she backs up in a circle. She doesn't back straight up. Her left side's just a little bit softer, so it makes her not want to back up straight. Usually, whichever side the horse is stiff on, that's the side that doesn't take and back up as good. You can see here I'm doing the same thing, just tossing the reins, moving them, waiting for her to settle. She done pretty good there. She didn't flinch, she didn't jump, so we'll take and work her again, do the exact same thing. I'm working her on circle, and one of her bad habits is when you're riding her, she likes to throw her head, she likes to fight the bit, particularly when you're on her back, and her back gets real shallow, so she's really unbalanced. She doesn't collect up, and she can't seem to raise her midsection up. And one of the things that I do with these reins is I'll try to get them to drop their head down while I'm driving them. Some people call this line driving, some people call it long lining, but it works really good to try and help a horse get some collection and learn to drop their head down. So you can use this before you're ever on their back to kind of get them in the correct form, get them collected up, and really get them rounded out. And she really needs that a lot. She needs some rounding out. because her head's always up and her back's shallow, and it's not a nice ride, and undoubtedly it's not comfortable for her either. So right here I'm having her walk square around, and that's another technique that I use to get a horse to drop their head. So as I'm turning them, I keep my offside rein or my outside rein tight, and because she's anxious and because she's wanting to move, I don't have to really push on her a whole lot. You can see her walk her front end around, and when she walks her front end around, she has to drop her head in order to do that. So it's helping her round out a little bit, and she's wanting to move, she's wanting to go. So I'm just kind of playing that fine line between going and not going, and just keeping that movement. And you can see her drop her head when she goes into this turn, and that's what I'm looking for. When that pressure is presented to her, I want her head to come down instead of go up. So I'm asking her to turn, but I'm keeping that outside rein tight and asking her. Right here she wants to kind of back up, got a little confused. I helped her out a little bit. So I keep that outside rein tight, and it's causing her to bring her front end around, square around, and she has to drop her head in order to do that. So here again, asking her to back up square, and I'll throw those reins once she kind of settles down, quits pulling on the bit. That was a good stop there. Walk that front end around, drop that head. That's what I really want to see right there. I want to see that horse, when that contact is made, to just drop her head and really get collected up. Here we'll stop again. Backing up pretty square. I'll throw the reins here. You can see after she moves her feet, and then you go back to just trying to be quiet and calm, she's fidgety and she's antsy, and it's multiplied once you're in the saddle. She's a whole lot more anxious when you're in the saddle. To whatever extent she was ridden, it seems like they pushed her a whole lot and didn't really give her any time to balance out. So she did pretty good there. So I'm just going to take and quit her. I hope you all enjoyed this introduction to driving with this mare. There's a lot of benefits to driving. Anything that you do with a horse, you can take and use it to work out any issue or any problem that you have. And driving's going a long way to helping this little mare become more quiet and calm. If you're going to drive a horse, I always like to start in a pen, whether it's a round pen or a square pen. And if you've done your groundwork right, driving's not that much of a stretch from lunging. If you do your preparation work right, it'll all turn out really well. In the next video, I'll be putting these same principles that I introduced to her on the ground to work in the saddle. That's going to end it up for now. And remember, if you don't know which way to go in this old world, commit your ways unto the Lord. Trust also in Him, and He'll bring it to pass. We'll see you later.